Jim. All right, I'm changing the talk title to the art, right? To the art of reconciliation, right? The art of reconciliation. I'm tired.
Wonder why.
It's been a busy week, right? It's been a busy week, and we've gotten a lot done. I was just squatting on the floor, stretching my lower back. I think I need Raymond now, not next month. We've gotten a lot done. We've gotten a lot done, and we've worked through a lot of stuff. You know, the thing that happens when chaos seems to happen, right, is everything shows up to be healed. Everything shows up to be healed. And there's times when I'm like, oh, I need to do this, and just let it go. Just let it go. Let it go. There's a conversation going on in the ministers' listserv right now, and about a new idea coming into a service. Somebody had done something very different than what I would do, than what a lot of churches would do. And I wrote back and said, you know, that wouldn't be something that I would do in my community, but thank you for bringing it to our attention. And then I woke up this morning, I was thinking about it, and I thought, maybe I wouldn't bring it during a Sunday service. Maybe I would bring it to an event, what this person brought to their community. And what I also recognized was that this person, this minister, is ministering to a community of younger people. They are focused on people in their 20s and their 30s, which means that what they are bringing to the table is very different than what I would bring here. And yet, it worked, right? So at first I was like, oh no, I wouldn't bring that to my community. But then, maybe I would. But for me, not on a Sunday. So the art of reconciliation in this case was to write again this morning and say, you know, I've had time to sleep on this. And I value all the input. And I see why you did what you did. Thank you for sharing it with everybody. Right? Recognizing and stepping into that humility that, oh, wait a minute, I'm not the authority. I only know what I know through my own experience, right? The windows are rattling with the wind. Yes. Oh. That's what the art of reconciliation looks like. It looks like listening and experiencing and sitting back and contemplating, right? We have that adage, inhale world, exhale peace. And that serves as a profound reminder of the peace we wish to see in the world. Or as my friend Peter would say, inhale what doesn't work for you and exhale what does. So he was talking about cycling it through and recycling it out, using our own bodies as that vessel that can take what isn't working for us and turning it into something that does. I thought, that's so backwards, but when I tried it, I realized that really works. It really works. Inhale something that I'm struggling with, bless it, and then exhale, knowing that what it is blessed. I know it sounds crazy, right? Science of Mind highlights a deep connection between our inner state and external reality. See, what we teach here is that our thoughts are powerful forces shaping our experiences. Therefore, resolving conflicts is more than a tactical process. It becomes a spiritual practice that aligns with harmony, love, and unity. When we nurture thoughts of love and peace, we contribute to a collective consciousness of harmony. Whereas negative emotions like fear and anger, they perpetuate division, right? So the phrase in our closing song, "Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me," captures this philosophy perfectly. It reminds us that while global peace is a significant challenge, it starts with personal inner transformation. By focusing on self-awareness and forgiveness, empathy, and compassion, we foster inner peace. That then radiates outward, inspiring others and creating a ripple effect of harmony. They teach this at the HeartMath Institute in Palo Alto. The HeartMath Institute in Palo Alto has done scientific studies. They have proven that the energy of your heart ripples out at least 10 feet. That's why those of us who call ourselves empaths can really feel a room when we walk in. Everyone can, whether you realize it or not. Have you ever walked into a meeting where everybody's angry, and before you even sit down, you're like, "Oh, I'm angry," right? Or you walk into a room, not feeling like today, I'm like a little tired. But I walk in here and I'm like, "Oh, these are my people. I can be inspired. Bless you. I can be inspired." I sat over here and I took deep breaths of your energy. And I filled my body so I could tackle another week, right? I can choose what I want to bring into my essence. So thank you for lightening me up today and lifting me up, because I needed that. So, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. distinguished between negative and positive peace, offering a perspective on conflict resolution and societal change. See, negative peace refers to the mere absence of violence or conflict, a situation where tensions might be suppressed by underlying issues that remain unaddressed. That's what we call spiritual bypass. We don't want to do that. You know, there was the old way of thinking in Science of Mind, and I remember this. Brigitte and I were just talking about this the other day. You'd walk into a Science of Mind center and say, "Oh, I have a headache," and somebody would say to you, "Well, what were you thinking?" "Oh, I broke my leg." "Oh, well, what were you thinking?" "I want to tell you what I was thinking, and it looks like a middle finger," right? "I'm thinking I got a cold," or "I've been a little stressed," or "Oops, I fell down because I was looking at the pretty clouds in the sky." That's what I was thinking. Stuff happens. Stuff happens. So we don't want to ignore the things that are, but we don't want to ignore the other things that are happening, because what wasn't being said was, "Oh, well, if you're not walking around all happy and with rose-colored glasses on all the time, then you're denying yourself." That's not true. If we don't look at the underlying frustration or anger and try and have some reconciliation, we still walk around with that. It's still in our baggage. And I want to tell you, I carried around tons of baggage for a long time. I don't have the space for it anymore. I don't have the strength for it anymore. I need more sleep than that, right? I don't need to be up arguing for my limitations any longer. So what he was saying that this form of peace can be fragile because it doesn't resolve the root causes of discord and injustice. It's a state where problems are just temporarily quieted, but not resolved. In contrast, positive peace involves a deeper, more substantive transformation of relationships and societal structures. It's characterized by justice and equality and proactive promotion of well-being for everyone. Positive peace seeks to address the underlying causes of conflict, such as systemic injustices and social inequalities. It aims to build a foundation of equity and mutual respect. Positive peace looks different than our traditional spiritual view of peace because it involves setting clear boundaries. It's holding individuals and systems accountable, and it drives meaningful change. See, this form of peace, it requires active engagement and action, addressing the underlying issues and implementing solutions, which can initially feel challenging or confrontational, but ultimately leads to deeper, more lasting harmony that isn't reliant on any individual or group oppression. Right? I was listening to a colleague of mine this morning. He was talking about 4 steps to the art of reconciliation. And they were humility, empathy, forgiveness, and sacrifice. And I loved this. I loved this. See, what they were saying was that the art of reconciliation is bringing things back together. It's restoring connection. It's acknowledging when harm has been done. It's choosing peace over pride. It's creating new possibilities. And it's messy, and it can be slow. It takes a lot of work. Humility means that I'm open to something better. I'm open to something better. I'm open to letting go of my idea of how things need to be done. Brigitte heard that a lot this weekend. I don't know, you're in charge. I don't know, you make a decision. You're the board president, you decide on that. Sure, Brigitte, whatever you want to do, right?
Yes.
There was a lot of that this weekend. Letting go. Letting go. That's a great idea. Or sometimes it was, let me think on that. She could tell now. She knows the look on my face. She says, think on it. She knows. When I have humility, I can say, that's not what I was thinking. Tell me more. When I have humility, I can say, oh, I really screwed that one up. Or I can say, as I tell my practitioners, when you make a mistake, ta-da! I made a mistake, moving on. Right? So it's open to something better. When I first learned that, I heard a lot in my life, this or something better. There's a chant, Karen Drucker, this or something better is waiting for me, right? When I'm looking for something and I think I found what I'm looking for, I always say this or something better. Because if what I found doesn't work, then I'm not devastated. This or something better. Empathy is the other one. Empathy is the quiet courage to imagine what it means to be someone else, even if we don't agree with them. Even if we don't agree with them. Empathy is a practice. Empathy is being willing to listen, to be curious, to be engaged until you understand where that other person is coming from. It doesn't mean you have to agree with them. But it is being willing to listen and learn. See, what happens in our society is that we dehumanize people. We dehumanize people. We see people as a problem. Look at what's going on in our country or in the world. We see people as a problem. That's dehumanizing. We need to get them back to seeing them as a person. Yesterday, after we had run furniture up and down the coast, Mark was starting to get hangry. Eileen was starting to get hangry. He gets quicker to being irritated with people on the road than I do most of the time. And we got behind what's obviously a tourist. And he said, oh, can we just go? And I said, in my mind, could they just at least go half the speed limit on the highway? We both started to lament, and I went, oh, wait, hold on, they're probably a tourist looking for something. Oh, you're right. Okay. We were both tired. We fell into an old pattern, an old Silicon Valley pattern of go or get out of the way, right? Right? So we had to humanize the people that were in the vehicle. Now, see, spiritual law responds to not only our words, but our tone. Our tone. Think about that one. I'm loving you. I see you as a person, but I don't like what you're doing. What do you think Spirit's going to hear? Not the words, the tone, the tone. So we have to really work on softening our hearts. One of my teachers in the very beginning of my prac class said, you know, back in those days, Hitler always came up. Well, what about Hitler? How do I love Hitler? And this minister would say to us, imagine him as an infant in his mother's arms. And his mother being so filled with joy of this newborn baby. I had to laugh because the baby in his mother's arm had that funny little mustache, right? But imagine imagine whoever or whatever you're frustrated with as an infant, just born, being placed on its mother's chest. Or imagine them as a newborn puppy or kitten, right? Find the love first. Find the love first. So humility and empathy. The next one is forgiveness. I love this one. Forgiveness doesn't mean to forget. Forgiveness is about repairing and restoring. It's upcycling something that was and making something new out of it. That's what we did with our estate sale. Did you see Brigitta's beautiful blouse? Did you see the vase here? They were upcycled from our sale, right? They were upcycled from our sale. Forgiveness isn't about denying. It's about releasing. It's about not being held hostage. I've heard this quote has both been quoted as, where was it? It's in my notes, hold on. Well, I promise I highlighted it. It's on the back of this page. It's been quoted by Jack Cornfield and also Lily Tomlin. Both people have been quoted for saying this. And it is, forgiveness is giving up all hope of a better past. It's letting go and making the choice to find peace and understanding in the present moment, which is essential for resolving conflict. Forgiveness is giving up all hope of a better past. Wow. See, it doesn't erase accountability, but it softens the resentment. It softens resentment. Archbishop Desmond Tutu played a pivotal role in the Truth and Reconciliation Committee, the TRC, that was established in 1995. See, after decades of racial segregation and violence in the post-apartheid South Africa, the TRC aimed to heal the nation by uncovering the truth about past human rights abuses and promoting restorative justice. Oops, I got it. Stay. As chair of the TRC, Tutu emphasized active listening and empathy. See, victims of violence were given the chance to share their stories, while perpetrators could apply for amnesty by fully disclosing their crimes. The process of truth-telling and accountability created space for personal and national healing, fostering dialogue between victims and perpetrators without fear of retribution. The TRC's approach, rooted in empathy, assertive communication, and the creation of safe spaces, helped break the cycle of hatred and violence, laying the foundation for a more unified South Africa. It was imperfect, but the commission showed how confronting a painful past can lead to healing and reconciliation, offering a model for peace building worldwide.
What TRC stands for?
Truth and Reconciliation Commission is what TRC stands for. That's sacrifice. That's the sacrifice. Are you willing to listen to the other side? Are you willing to let go of your beliefs around what might be going on in the world? There was another note I wrote down. It was brilliant. My notes are all over the place today, sorry. Neville Goddard in The Law and Promise says, the world will persist in exhibiting before you what you persist in affirming the world is. The world will persist in exhibiting before you what you persist in affirming the world is. Ernest Holmes said the same thing. What you see, what you believe is what you're going to see. Right? So what do you believe? I believe in a world that works for everyone. I believe in giving people a chance. Oh, how many times have you heard a tiger can't change its stripes? Anyone ever heard that one? What's another one of those?
The leopard won't change its
A
spots.
leopard won't change its spots. Anything else?
Can't teach a dog.
Can't teach an old dog new tricks. Right? Right? And yet, how many of us know people who have had one life in their past but have a completely different life today? How many of us know people who have done something bad, but today are doing amazing things? I ran into somebody in town a couple of weeks ago. I was admiring his tattoos. I said, oh, where did you get them done? And he didn't want to tell me. Did I tell you this during service? He didn't want to tell me. And I said, that's all right, you can tell me, I have no judgments. And he kind of giggled and he said, prison. And I said, oh, they're really nice. Did you do them yourself? He goes, yeah, that's where I learned. I said, awesome. He said, so I do tattoos on the side. If you ever want yours touched up, I was like, And then like 3 other people, employees in the same store he was at, started showing me their pieces that he had done. They're beautiful. I didn't ask him why he went to prison. That wasn't the point. He was doing me a service and we were chit-chatting in the process. He wasn't his past to me. He was who he was in that moment. I thanked him for sharing his story with me. I told him I was honored that he was willing to open up to me like that. He didn't know me from anyone else. And I blessed him as I left. And he said, excuse me, ma'am, can I give you a hug? I said, of course. Of course. You never know what people's past is. And yours might have been different too. Let's honor that. Let it go and step into a new day. Let's pray. In this moment and in this space, I know that there is only one. There's one God, one power, one presence, and it is all of these beautiful experiences that we experience in life. It's the people we run into. It's the tourists in traffic. It's people in stores with art on their bodies. It is our families and our friends, our spiritual community. It is that breeze that is blowing and that sun that has been shining. It is the spring bursting forward from the sleep that the earth was in. It is good, it is God, it is power, it is light, it is abundance, it is peace, and it is love. And I know that that is in, through, and around each and every one of us. See, because what it is, we are, and we can affirm that. We can affirm that reconciliation is ours. We can affirm that transformation is ours. We can affirm that newness is ours. I'm knowing in this moment that any healing that needs to be done is complete. It's complete in the mind of God, and as we say often, we treat and move our feet. We say our prayers and we move in the direction of where we want to go. Because we know that everything is possible. Everything is possible in God. So any feeling of lack or mistrust or any fear, because it all breaks down to fear, is healed. Any fear that we may be experiencing is healed. We instead open our hearts and our minds, our souls up to the love and the abundance, the community, the joy, the laughter, the dance, the energy that is all of it. We celebrate it, knowing that it is ours for the asking. And we say thank you even before we recognize it showing up in our lives, because when we say thank you, we are opening ourselves even more, like a big stretch and then stretching just a little bit more, like a deep inhalation, and then bringing in a little bit more, knowing that we can, that there's no end to the goodness in our world. There's no end to the goodness in our lives. So I say thank you, Spirit. Thank you, God. Thank you, Divine Presence. And I just release this prayer into the law of mind, knowing that it is already done. And if you will help me in anchoring this by joining me in saying, and so it is.